I made a video explaining what speed memorization was, so this video is going to focus on slow memorization, okay? And because they're completely different things and it's really useful to understand what the difference is between them. So the first aspect of slow memorization is that the time limit that you have to learn information is very long, okay? So it's not like you have to learn the information right away or else you're going to fail. So say if you have to learn all these different equations, you might have a month before the actual test, okay? And I've learned, a lot of equations study, engineering. And of course, it's not like, here's 50 equations, learn them. No, you learn them through the process that by test time, you should actually know them. So that's probably the first main aspect of slow memorization is that you have more time to actually go through and understand the material and learn it. Which also leads into the second aspect of slow memorization, and that is the information is complex, okay? So just take a look at these equations and you can just see, man, there's so many different aspects of it that you actually need to know every single thing. You need to know what all these different variables mean, right? So you need to know what energy of the particle is, or what 2 pi f is the angular frequency and frequency of the particle. You have to understand all that stuff or else this equation is worthless. And so you have to put more energy and effort to actually understand all of these different complex ideas. Because say, for example, if you have this part of the equation missing in the problem you're given, you probably have to use another equation to find this missing information. And so they're all kind of tied together, right? The bigger understanding is really important because if you're lacking one of these different components, man, you won't be able to solve any problem. And this isn't just for, equations, for anything you're learning that's bigger, has a bigger idea. And so that's probably the second aspect that's super important that you need to understand, that the information is more complex. Because for example, if I'm memorizing a deck of cards and I get the King of Spades, right? So King of Spades, oh yeah, my image is Scar from Lion King. That's all I need to know. The King of Spades is just a card. There's no deeper meaning to it. But for all this information, all these equations, there's different meanings to them. Okay? And then the third aspect, the last aspect of slow memorization is that you have to have a system of reviewing, okay? You need a system of reviews in order to actually retain this information. Because chances are you probably want to, if you're learning a subject, you want to be able to recall that information a month, year, maybe forever, right? So you actually need to review the information so you're able to recall it. Because I know probably in school, right? You're in school and you're learning something. Right when you learn it at the beginning, you're like, man, this is so easy. I know it perfectly. A month later, no, a week before the test, you're like, I have no idea what we did 3 weeks ago. And so you have to relearn everything. And so essentially, you just kind of wasted all that time learning it initially because you just have to relearn it later. So that's why you need a system of reviewing in order to review the information in a more systematic way so you're able to remember for a lot longer and be able to recall it instantly when you need the information. And as you can tell, all these equations, you need to be able to identify, okay, what's this variable mean? How do I use this equation? Or what's the difference between this equation and that equation? And so you need to be able to instantly recall that stuff in order for you to be effective when using these equations. And it's the same thing when it comes to languages too. You need to know how the grammatical structure is, how to form a sentence correctly, all these different things in order to make tangible and something that's understandable, right, when you're actually speaking it. And so being able to have a system of review is really going to be helpful for you, and it's what you need when you're slowly learning information. Now, chances are, you might feel like when you're learning a subject that you're going really slow, like, man, I'm learning super slow. It's taking forever. Well, you're supposed to, right? Going through something like this, quantum mechanics, it's going to be slow because it's just so complex. You're actually trying to focus on, okay, do I understand everything before I move on? And so that's perfect. So it makes perfect sense. So don't feel frustrated or sad if you're going slow when you're learning something that's a little bit more complex because it's supposed to be that way. And now you know the 3 different aspects of slow memorization. Got it memorized?